Hi.
Hi. Hi. I am Rupert England, and I'm a veteran of this crazy thing called the ad industry. I've been bouncing around the planet for about 27 years now, shooting and thinking of ideas and trying to keep out of mischief. I've settled in Singapore, where I'm currently the co-founder and creative director of a startup called Goldigga. And as the name applies, we do it all for the cash, but not just that, we do it because we love it, of course.
That's fantastic, Rupert. Now, when I first met Rupert, we talked a lot about photography, and one thing that was very interesting that you're a bit of a shutterbug yourself. Tell me about your sort of love for photography.
Yeah, oh goodness, my dad was in advertising, so I grew up on shoots, and his best friend was one of the top photographers in South Africa, and I was always a bit of a worshipper of Peter Westerby. So I was always interested in cameras and these lovely Polaroids that he would pull out of the machine and shake around. So I think from a young age was kind of framing the world, I think as a lot of photographers do. Couldn't wait to get myself my own SLR. And when I finally did get my own Minolta 35mm cam in the early 90s, I would snap away. And of course, photography in those days was a very expensive business. So my actual shooting was pretty limited. But yeah, loved it, did the whole darkroom thing, did a few courses. And, as soon as I got traveling, I really got into it. I think more into the sort of photo reportage sort of style of photography, sort of more gritty style of photography. And eventually had my own exhibition about 4 or 5 years ago. I'd sort of taken part in several exhibitions before that. And I obviously don't do it quite as much as I used to, because now I'm married, a family man, and quite frankly don't have the time or the resources, perhaps.
If you were to go out to a gallery, what to see a photographic exhibition, what type of work sort of draws you to that kind of event?
I love documentary style photography. Photo stories, basically photos that tell some sort of series. I'm not particularly into sort of abstract, sort of over the top arty kind of photography. I love the photography that it basically explores parts of the world or parts of society that I probably would never get to see. That's kind of my interest.
So great magnum kind of photographers, or even geo, or down that avenue of photography.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I mean, while we're talking about photography, is like, what's the last job that you worked on which you really enjoyed?
I've been, as you know, Rob, I've been doing a lot of hair photography for the last 4 or 5 years, and I still laugh at myself. I never ever thought I'd become a shampoo or hair guy, but lo and behold. But of course, once you get exposure to it, you just realize just how nuanced and how difficult hair photography is. And how many different sort of shots have been established. You get the butterfly and the whatnot. But I do have a massive appreciation for hair photography, and I think since I got into hair photography, I've done other shoots, and I think I've learned a lot from hair photography. Just how much it can bring, how much drama it can bring to an ordinary photograph. Even as long as there's a female model, you can get so much dynamism and movement and excitement, action from hair, and it's also almost a subconscious thing. When people look at the video, they don't really even realize how much a good hair shot can do, and even if it's a car shot, a lifestyle car shot or what have you.
They're really up there with the very controlled studio nature type of photography, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough to get a great hair shot.
So, talking of photography, what would you say to the photographers coming in to meet you for the first time at Creative Asia Plus? What would you like to see in their folios?
Well, I would love to see a combination. I'd love to see their commissioned work, of course, because commissioned work is often tough. You're working to a brief, you're working to brand guidelines. You're often working to clients that have their own vision, or sometimes they even think they're photographers themselves. So working in that kind of environment, it's tough. It's often really, really difficult to show your true colors and to do a produce a series of photographs that you're super proud of. And then, of course, I love to see their passion projects. I love to see what they do in their spare time and what really makes them tick as a photographer.
So I suppose what you're sort of saying there is you want to see both their passion and also their understanding of a brief, like how they actually deal with the brief.
Absolutely, Rob. I mean, at the end of the day, advertising it's not an art. At its very best, it can get close to art, but it's a commercial venture, so we have to play within those limitations. And I work with photographers that are just brilliant at understanding briefs and really making a shoot not just a pleasant experience, but just bringing something quite amazing to the table. I've also worked with photographers that think that they're artists, and they sometimes get very stressed, and they can't control they can't handle the pressure that often comes with a shoot, especially if you've got a client there getting a bit too involved in each shot. So it's a really tough dynamic, a commercial photo shoot, and performing at your best in those circumstances can be a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you again for your time today, and we really look forward to having you at CA+ in July 29th in Singapore.
I look forward to being there, Robin. Thank you again for the invitation. I can't wait to see all the photography, meet the talented photographers, and see you, of course.
Thank you, my man.